let's
You know what it is time for? It's time to introduce our guest. Do you like that link? We're getting really good at this, Stu, to be fair. So it's time to introduce our members today. So without any further ado, I'd like to introduce Sarah Bass, Sheila Lemon, and Paul Barnes. Come on in, everybody.
Come on in. Lovely to see you.
There we go. Good morning. Morning.
Morning.
Morning.
Paul. Morning, Sarah.
Sheila, have you got your camera on? There we go. Oh.
I have.
There she is. Well, welcome. Welcome to the Member Spotlight. Lovely to have you all here. And without any further ado, I'm going to just ask you to introduce yourself and what your business is. So we'll start with you, Sheila.
Oh, right. Okay. Sheila Lemon, and my business is network marketing. I'm in the network marketing profession with, in my opinion, the best one ever. It's Forever Living, the aloe vera company, and what makes it so good is it's in its 43rd year of constant growth, and they're just always doing anything they can to help everybody, the environment, the people involved, absolutely everybody. So I am passionate about the company.
Oh, thank you, Sheila. What about you, Sarah?
Hi, morning everyone. Sarah Bass, owner at Oraculum RPO. We provide employee support services to SME businesses and HR professionals.
Sarah, just a quick one. For those who don't know, what does RPO stand for?
Recruitment process outsourcing. So in a nutshell, we're outsourced recruitment support and employee support. So we offer a range of services for the whole employee cycle.
Thank you very much.
You get what you want when you need it. So that's what we do.
Brilliant. Thank you, Sarah. And Paul?
Good morning, guys. So I'm Caribou Digital, and we create mobile apps. Mobile apps that solve your and your customers' needs from the outset. And
he's really hiding his light under a bushel there. I've been working with Paul over the last few weeks on his hubbub content and diving deep into what he does. Amazing work that he's been doing, and he recently had a win that he didn't put in the box, that he got a commendation, an honourable mention in an award ceremony. No, an award voting thing. Look, he's being so modest.
Don't get that information out of him. Don't you worry. We're going to loosen him up and get him talking.
Right, Lou, why don't you go for it and ask your first not victim.
Let's ask the first question. So I'm going to ask the same question to all three of you. Why did you choose the industry or sector or niche that you did? If I can start with you, Paul. So if you could just talk us through why you chose the industry.
Sure. I guess it kind of chose me, really, at the end of the day. It's something I've been involved with over the last 25 years. I've been in software, since coming out of university. And over time, I've kind of developed my skills and experience, and a lot of that has been around e-commerce, commerce, working with stores like John Lewis, Tesco, Dunelm, but also a lot of kind of workforce management. So how to kind of support teams doing stuff, processing the stuff that they do, plumbers, water networks, that kind of thing. So now I build software specifically to help people build great commerce and e-commerce experiences, and helping companies get better productivity through their workforce.
Brilliant. And so was it something that, so when you were, very young, is it something you've always been interested in? So it was a natural progression, or was it sort of, I don't really know what to do and I'm quite like this, so I'll just go with that? Was it a passion that you've had? Because you're obviously very passionate about it. So was it always?
Yeah, unfortunately. I was the 12-year-old with my Commodore 64, trying to write software and programs, reading magazines on how to write code for this and code for that, and spending far too much time behind that computer than going out on the football. And then, yeah, just progressed through, different parts of my education. And actually, I did software and computer studies and things like that because I didn't know what other things to do in, history, English, or maths, or something. Didn't really kind of fit. So yeah, it was a long-standing history of that kind of.
Brilliant.
Oh, the old Commodore 64. I had an Atari 400, then went up to an 800 XL. Love to do a bit of basic programming.
Exactly, back in the day.
Yeah.
And over to you, Sarah, the same question. Why did you choose the industry or sector or niche that you did?
Originally, actually, Paul said it there, that it really chose me in a way. I moved into sales stroke recruitment at quite a young age, probably connected to the fact that I needed to work to pay rent, because I was, I basically didn't have a family home from when I was about 16. So it was that drive to survive, I think, with no fears and no consequences, no thought pattern. And I'd wanted to go into the Navy. I went to a careers meeting. Some people who know me might know this story. I went to a careers meeting, said, what would you want to do? And when I chose my sort of O-levels and so on, I didn't want to do secretarial, which is quite bizarre considering how many secretaries I've recruited in my career. I didn't want to do typing. I knew I didn't want to do that. And I wanted to go into the Navy. And they said, why do you want to go into the Navy? I said, well, I want to go on a ship and I want to travel the world and I want to do something different, and they said, you're not allowed on a ship. And bizarrely enough, I know that things happen that sort of put you in an age range, as it were. You see things, you think, oh God, it's the anniversary of that. And that means it's 30 years, I think, since women were first allowed on a ship.
Wow. So
you can do the maths sort of thing there.
No
and they said,
needed here.
you might be allowed to go to an island like Cyprus and do a base thing, somewhere. And I just went, well, I'm not doing that then. Walked out the room. And then it just all sort of, I've been in hospitality and I did my A-levels and I met this lady who was in recruitment in London. And she told me what she was doing. She's a bit older than me. And I just went, I want to do that. And that was it. I'm very much like that sort of campaign. And everything I did from then for the next year, trying to gain experience and everything.
Yeah.
And the company I started with in recruitment was, I was the youngest person ever to be taken on.
Wow.
So that's why it was a mission, and now I can't get out of it. Now the madness is there, and that's why I have a love, and it's a fantastic industry. I love it. It makes them, it really does still give me a buzz every single day.
So many people I talk to, and we have spoken to in this BiZHUB session, have said that they got into something because somebody else was enthusiastic and they just was like, that sounds really good. They seem to really, really enjoy it. I think I would enjoy that. And whether it's a big, overt, massive, oh, I love it, or just that kind of really kind of solid, wow, they seem to really get a lot out of that. I think that's really, really important you communicate that.
I'm trying to communicate as well that as a woman, when I was coming through the education and going into a career, I'm sort of trying to paint that picture that I wanted to create. I wanted something to do something, and it was limited for women often. Everyone thought of a career right up to the point where you get married, or that was exactly how. And I wanted to do well for myself because it was absolutely necessary to have a job that I could do well in and be independent. So and it's certainly given me that. So that's me.
Thank you, Sarah. It's always I find this part really interesting, is how people got there. What about you, Sheila? How did you choose the industry or sector that you're in now?
I didn't choose it. No, I didn't choose it. No, it definitely chose me because it was my lifeline. Rather like Sarah, I had very poor careers advice, and went along, because you got to remember I'm 70. I will tell you how old I am, so you can imagine what it was like. Grammar school, girls went to the deputy headmistress, boys went to the headmaster, and the first question they ask is, what do you want to do? And I knew what I wanted to do, so her face lit up. So I said, I want to be a forensic scientist. And then it wasn't on the list. On the list. So she said, she actually told me a pack of lies, really. First of all, she said they don't take women, which is a lie. And then the one that was part true, I wasn't taking the right subjects, but there was no question of guiding me into the right subjects so I could do it, because she told me they don't take women. So the other thing I was adamant about, I wasn't going to university. So yes, Sarah, you either became a secretary, a nurse, or a school teacher. So I was given a day at college, at teacher training college. It was a fabulous day. What did it have to do with teaching? Nothing. It was just a glorious day out. So yeah, I went into teaching and regretted every day. I hated it, absolutely hated it. So I stuck it for 8 years. It was actually the change of headmaster that made me change, because the older guy who was retiring, he cared about the children. The guy who came in had no interest whatsoever. It was a stepping stone to a job at county level. And I thought, I can't work here. I can't work under you. I mean, I don't like the job anyway, but to think that you are leading something and you're not interested either. And so I fell into bookkeeping and accounts preparation because I love numbers. And that's where I was. And a very unhappy first marriage. So I became a workaholic. I was happy about that because my employers were very happy and they rewarded me well. But I met up with David, ex-shepherd, when he retired from shepherding because of his age on the employment scrap heap. And that's where he picked up network marketing. And we just saw this tiny advert. It said, part-time, flexible, work from home, decide what you earn. I said, David, if you do that, I won't have to look after your flipping sheep because you're doing a job. You're doing a job that is anti-social hours. Yes, he started, but then, as a lot of you know, he had this massive stroke 14 years ago, turned our world upside down. And I decided, because I couldn't cope with full-time employment and being his only carer, I'm giving up work. I was 60, for goodness sake, I could. And I had to wait 6 months for the state pension. And for the whole of that 6 months with my private pension, all I had was £800. Wow. And that's when I panicked. But I knew that I could actually pick up what David had started, because I had been around it long enough to see that it really worked. And that's why, and I do love it.
Wow. And for some of the, you know, your story is you know, it chose you, you didn't choose it, but you're so passionate about it, and you absolutely love it. So sometimes it doesn't have to be a passion that is born, you know, say for example with Paul, it's, you know, he's had that passion from a very young age. Those things can come to you and you can develop such a passion for something. So it doesn't matter how you get there, it's just getting there, I suppose.
Yeah.
So yeah, really, really interesting. Thank you. And thank you for sharing. I mean, it's really interesting to hear how everybody finds, you know, their niches and their passions in life. It's pretty good.
Cool. I'm going to ask the next question, and I'm going to move it forward a little bit. And I'd like you to think about the ideal day in your business. If you could build an ideal day actually in your life, what would that look like? You know, what would you do in the morning? Where would you go for lunch? What would you be doing during the day? And I'm going to ask Sarah. Sarah, what does your ideal day look like?
I've had so many ideal days. It's just like multitudes of an ideal day. It would be one where I get up, I know what I'm going to be doing, kind of thing. Everything's already pre-organized. I know what, you know, pick what I'm going to wear, get ready. Ideal day would be read some real positive calls coming in. Somebody loves someone on interview, they want someone to start. Somebody's doing really well after their first week. There'll be a message coming up, someone celebrating their first year. It would be a series of real, you know, 2, 3, 4. And then I always go back. I do love Brown's in Covent Garden for lunch. I just love that place. Upstairs, the meetings and in the kiosks and so on. So it would really be, you know, a nice lunch with some lovely friends who are all coming in, and catch up and a few glasses of fizz. And then maybe, you know, come out of that and then come and do a few emails, check my diary for the next day, and make the next day a busy day, you know, just sort of.
It's so reflective of who you are. You're such a people person. It's all about meeting people and talking to people and being with people. That's fantastic.
Yeah, perfect day. Yeah.
What about you, Sheila? What about you? What's your perfect day?
My perfect day has got to start with good weather. Because I like to get up, take my time, and like Sarah said, have the day planned, but go out for a lovely long walk. So yes, it's walking early, even if it's a bit chilly, I don't mind, but I don't like walking in the rain.
No.
I'm so lucky around here to be able to go on some fabulous walks and never meet a soul. And rather like, you know, somebody shouted, I can't remember who, my kingdom for a horse. Forget that, you can keep the horse. I've got the kingdom, I'm looking at it. And then it would be conversations, then, you know, with future prospects, joining my team, catching up with customers, and always when I go to deliver to customers, we stop and we put the world to right, and I love that. I don't just take product to them, we put the world to right. And then you're quite right, Sarah, go somewhere really nice to have lunch. I've got so many places I like, I can't actually name one, but then just to do that, and then maybe a team catch up, and fit in a bit of killer Sudoku. I've got to do my killer Sudoku. And just chill, and actually sum it up as everything is planned, everything is happening, but it's very relaxed. That's the key, very relaxed.
Excellent, lovely, fantastic. The killer Sudoku bit, that's great.
Oh, I have to do that. I'm addicted. I'm totally addicted.
It's what keeps your brain kind of, you know, exercising those muscles and the numbers. You know, you said you were a numbers person.
I am.
Excellent. Paul, what about yourself? What does an ideal day entail?
Well, when I got these questions beforehand, I kind of focused on what is my typical day. So I've now just rewritten what my ideal day is in retrospect. And it's
keeping it live, Paul. We're just keeping it live.
Exactly, I know. I'm just mixing it up. So yeah, it definitely starts with coffee, strong coffee. It just helps the day. And then first tracks on a bluebird day in the mountains. Yeah, that's a perfect way to start the day when I'm not doing a school run. So in the snow, snowboarding, yeah, getting that first track in fresh powder, and then getting back for some breakfast. Then it'll probably be some early morning calls with some teams, just to kind of plan the day, figure out what's going on, what do we need to achieve for that day. Then there might be a discovery workshop that I would run to help a client understand, you know, what kind of solutions or problems that they're trying to solve. It would be quite interactive, it would be quite observational, it would be quite collaborative, all online and remote where necessary. Coach some team members. I do a bit of coaching of team members on new techniques and how to get stuff done when it comes to delivering software. Probably, hopefully at some point, celebrating, you know, the launch of a client's app, you know, celebrating with them and kind of having a bit of a hoorah about that. And then finishing off with, because I'm still in the mountains and still in the snow, enjoying a snowball fight with the kids.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Brilliant. Do you know, the best thing I love about these questions is that as small business owners, we can have and we can make these days our reality. You have that ability. Okay, maybe not snowboarding because we're limited with weather, but do you know what I mean? You have the ability to say, do you know what, that is my idea. I want to achieve that. And that is always the beauty of being a small business owner, because you can let your mind drift to that and you can achieve elements of that, of your ideal day, not necessarily every day, but there are elements of it that you can certainly put into practice when you are your own boss effectively, and do that. And sometimes I think we forget that. You get swept up in your business and you become an employee of your business, that you're just like, you know, to the grindstone. And yes, we have to work hard, but always remember that, I think, as small business owners, that you can definitely open your eyes and say, actually, that is I'm going to do that today, because it just keeps you inspired and keeps you going. So I always love hearing the answers to those.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the things I do is check in. If I've had too many days that vary way off piste, to use Paul's metaphor of being out on the soft powder, if I have too many days where I'm like, this is not right, it's all wrong, then something needs to change. you know, and you need to take ownership of that and change it. You can't expect somebody to ride in on a big charger and sweep you off your feet.
Exactly. You got to do it.
I think it's interesting as well, because I think in this climate, when I thought about that, I thought about how it is now. I've kept it quite low key, because in an ideal day, I'd have definitely been out on the horse on the beach. The lunch would have turned into cocktails at 5. There would have been a spa in that day, and I definitely would have been at a disco club by about 10 o'clock at night. So I've sort of kept it quite low key, really, and what's appropriate for now. But
exactly, I agree with you, Sarah. I definitely would have had a bottomless brunch in there, because you can't go wrong with a bottomless brunch.
Don't you wait for Freedom Day. I can't wait for Freedom Day. Come and join me on Freedom Day. It's going to be crazy, I'm sure.
Exactly.
Freedom Day.
I'm just going to go on in now about skills. I want to sort of explore skills and ask you the question of what unique skills do you have to run your business, and what skills have you identified, additional skills, to progress your business? So it's kind of an honesty one, in that, you know, what skills have I got that are unique to run my business, but what do I need? And I'm going to start with you, Sheila.
Right. What I think my best skill, and it's taken time to develop, is to become a really good listener. I was always waiting to talk. I even used to cross my fingers like, oh, I want to answer that, therefore you're not listening anymore. And tease out from people their pain points and where can I help them, but not jump in. Build a genuine, authentic relationship first, and I take the slow approach with whether it's a customer or recruiting somebody into the team, because we're in for the long haul. So we've got to know and trust and actually like each other and really get on. And my passion, my absolute passion, you know about it already, is the product's around forever, and I just love helping people. And the key thing is that the only way I get rewarded by forever is by helping people. You don't get rich by becoming a good salesperson of the forever products. You become rich in many ways by helping other people develop what it is that they want. My biggest challenge has come about because of COVID is technology. I'm very much face to face. I mean, I like all my senses to be satisfied by being with people. I just, you know, it's lovely we're looking at your faces, but you're flat. It's, you know, it's just and I've really struggled, really struggled, and it's my big learning curve. And I hope I will. No, forget the word hope. We don't use the word hope. I'm just going to overcome it and get on and trip up, pick myself up and move on.
But you have embraced it incredibly well, Sheila. For some, you know, you've not given up at the first hurdle. You've been to most of the meetings, most of the hub meeting sessions. You've been engaged. You've been to the networking. You know, you've really embraced it. So I think it's a pat yourself on the back, because, you know, when you don't like something, we often just give up and say, I just don't like it, I'm not doing it. But you've jumped in and you've carried on. So it shows resilience. So yeah, well done. Really good.
Yeah, absolutely.
What about you, Sarah? What skills, what unique skills do you have to run your business? What have you identified?
Unique skills, I would say definitely resilience. You have to, when dealing, as Sheila rightly said, with people, you have to have a real understanding that, and continuously, that people are completely unique. Every single person you speak to has their own motivations, their own focus, their own worries, their own fears, their own situation. All skills. You are every single person, so you do have to learn to almost read between the lines. My unique skill, I think, is being able to pick up and having learned to pick up on things very quickly when I speak to people from the very first time I meet them. You don't have it on limited time. So that listening, yes, but it's picking out and making sure that you have that almost reading between the lines in what people are saying, but you get the information you need to work with them and move forward.
I think that's not something that you can pick up a textbook and learn. That's something inbuilt in you. So it is definitely a unique skill. Definitely.
Yeah, it comes from lots and lots of conversations. And I think for me, challenges in terms of how I dealt with technology. I think technology is amazing, you know, but really I started in the industry with literally a pen, a pad and a phone and a file box, and that was for candidates, clients and everything. You know, everything was manual. And I do think the speed at which everything goes at can be quite overwhelming because there's immediacy about everything.
Yeah.
But I do think you need to go back to that in a little way, just that little bit of take attention on everything that you do and get it dealt with there and then. Otherwise it overwhelms and you never like completely finish something. So there, yeah. So
brilliant.
As we saw from Keith talking about his podcast, you know, everything has to start somewhere, and if it starts with a file box, a phone and a pen and your motivation, if that's what you need, then just get started with that. You've got to start with something, and you might as well start and get moving, because momentum is so incredibly important just from a motivational point of view. If you never get started and you never sort of get on that on-ramp, sometimes it can be really difficult to then see everyone else accelerating away and going, oh, well, too late for me. But it's never too late. It really is never too late.
No, it's not. What about you, Paul?
It's really important.
Yeah, difficult one to answer, I guess for everyone. So what I had in mind was kind of 3 things. It was critical thinking, experimentation, and learning from results. And it's really the basis on which I'm starting to build Caribou Digital, because it's taking critical thinking and understanding, you know, what problems exist within people's businesses and people's lives and the lives of their clients, and kind of conceptualizing that and then analyzing it and doing the research and then trying to figure out what, what kind of solutions can you innovate on to kind of resolve those problems, you know, whether it's a small problem that's there or big, actually, you know, bigger world problems. And then kind of experimenting with that so that we can identify, what if we had a solution, then what would that solution be, and how would that solve that problem, that person or that business, and kind of iterating on those experiments to kind of learn more in order to achieve some kind of really good outcome for both the business and my clients and the people that use their product, and just kind of wrapping that up into a kind of like a kind of ever-ending cycle, really, just kind of like keep learning from those experiments and really challenging our understanding of what people need in terms of software and why they need that software, and not just kind of settling for, well, every other e-commerce shop in the world does this, so let's do the same. Kind of trying to kind of get into the depth and the weeds of why these things happen, and really being trying to find innovative ways of overcoming them. If that's a skill, then that's what I do.
It's definitely a skill, Paul. Put it down as a skill. It's a skill.
Yeah, you'd put that on your CV, wouldn't you, Sarah? Critical thinking,
absolutely.
Learning by results, all of those things.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's the learning by results piece that's really important. Win or lose, it doesn't matter. I've learned something. That's the only thing that I've got as a benchmark. And if I've learned something, I can either do better next time or improve my results by what I've learned. So it's great. It's great. I love that.
Have you identified any additional skills that you might need, Paul?
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Anything from sales to marketing to kind of pushing the business, that kind of stuff is not my strong point. It's never really been a key thing. I'm good one-to-one, often not so good in kind of trying to be more kind of vocal with wider audiences.
Can I ask you a question? Do you find it difficult to relay the technical information to people that don't really understand the technology? I know you and I have had conversations, and I ask you really like basic questions. Do you find it like I don't know. Do you find it difficult to explain that to people that don't understand it?
I think it's there's two answers to that. So in the realm of the stuff that I do and the people that I work with, generally that's a much easier conversation to have. When it comes to people who have actually no idea about what I do or how I do it, then that's often a tougher gig, as you may have noticed.
Oh no, but when I always feel bad asking somebody who's very knowledgeable and technical when I know nothing, but I'm not one to fear of asking a question, so I will always ask it. But I just think it must be quite frustrating and quite difficult to explain it to somebody who really hasn't got a clue.
Well, that's a perfect example of the kind of critical thinking that I do with customers about kind of getting to the depth and the weeds of things, and that's the same thing. It's the same thing. It's just well, I don't quite understand, so tell me more.
Yeah. Good.
Fabulous, excellent. So we've had a look at where you came from and how you got into what you got into, what kind of skills you need now, and what you're doing now. And we're going to look ahead. We're going to peek over the horizon and see what's over there. And I think we'd like to know from you, Sheila, what do you think the biggest opportunities for your business are at the moment? Given there's quite a lot of uncertainty, it'd be interesting to see what your take is on your business going forward, what you see the areas of growth and opportunity are.
The areas of growth are definitely creating a larger team, but basically making sure they understand I'm looking for people who want to develop their own team. So I'm a great believer in, or I follow Simon Sinek. He wrote a book, how it's all about why, and he's all about leadership. And he says the only thing that makes you a leader is because you've gone first and you've set the example. And the true leader actually discovers the leaders and people that they introduce, that they are working with, so that they start their own leadership, because we're all on a level playing field. And the key thing with network marketing is it is a completely level playing field. Nobody can buy a position. You literally all start at the beginning. With Forever, it's literally a box of products, which most of them you're currently using anyway, so it makes it very easy to start with them. They pick up all the risk. And in the current climate with COVID, this is an opportunity for anybody who is prepared to do a bit of hard work, is prepared to help others. They're over 18 and they're honest and ethical. It is open to anyone. And look how many people need something. And the other thing I love about it, and it's something I try to impress upon people, is don't stop what you're doing. You do not have to stop what you're doing. The only people who are going to suffer as a result of you getting involved with Forever is the high street, because you will no longer be buying the products that you would have bought on the high street or online, because you're going to buy them from your own shop effectively. And it's just getting that message to people that, you're in a desperate situation. You can't see a way out. Well, this could be the way out. And Forever picks up all the risk. That's the key thing. There's no risk with this at all. Not at all.
Fantastic. Excellent. Yeah. Thank you for that. Sarah, same to you. What's the biggest opportunities for Oraculum RPO that you see currently?
Over the horizon.
Over the horizon.
Going forward, absolutely. Opportunities. There are so many. I mean, the recruitment, staffing, employee support is central to businesses. I know it's a bit difficult now, but I am already inspired by how businesses are still looking, they're moving through, they're looking for growth, they're thinking of the future. The Kickstarter scheme has immediately shown me that people are, you don't do it just on your own, you don't build success on your own, and that's always the case. Recruitment never ends. There aren't thousands of recruitment agencies, consultancies for no reason. So I'm really excited that I know from previously that there will, businesses will be coming back, and I'm very excited to see how new businesses especially start to grow again. There may be it may shrink a little bit. It's not all going to be a very easy going forward, But from experience, I know that the innovative businesses and the businesses that are going to grow again, it's going to be a very exciting time. And having the privilege of working alongside business owners as they're growing, so the MDs, the CEOs, and being part of that and really getting to know their company and their vision and what they want to do and how they want to grow is just so exciting. From everything that's happened, completely being able to work completely online anywhere, for me, that freedom, that's partly why I changed, not to be fixed, be able to work on different projects and different parts that businesses actually need at the time is so exciting. Not to do the same old, to do it differently. So find out the help that's needed then. And also, you know, having an opportunity to be in a position to try and help people who are looking for work now as much as possible.
Yeah.
Those conversations I know at this time, I've got people I know from 2008 who still pop up with the odd email saying, I'm doing really well now, I'm doing this now, I'm doing that. You know, honestly, it is so, you know, I welcome, and I really hope that I can help as many people as possible to get through this, find their path. Because it's really, really important, people's lives. And for my own, you know, we're all impacted ourselves. So we're in it together, but, you know, helping people at this time is really, really important. And it's, I'm really, you know, I'm really excited, and that's what I see on the horizon.
Do you, this is a perception from the outside, and you might be able to correct me on this, but do you see that recruitment is a long game because you're constantly networking, and those people you put in positions as they rise through the ranks, they remember you, and then they come back and you can have conversations about that and help them in other areas of their career? Is that true? Yeah,
it's a crazy world to be in. The crazy world of recruitment and staffing is that it's never-ending cycle. Right. You know, people don't just get made redundant, people leave jobs for their career. People drop bombshells on their bosses, you know, all sorts happens. Anything can happen on a Monday is what we say. Anything, anything, Monday.
But talking about the cycle, Sarah, it's also people that you place, develop and grow within a business, that they're in a position that they recruit. So they're looking for somebody. So it's that ongoing relationship that you know, if you place somebody and you have a good relationship with them, chances are when they get promoted up and have to recruit themselves, they'll come back to you. So,
but as we well know as business owners, and the reality of SMEs and so on, is that you are needed when you're needed.
Yeah.
With recruitment, you can go, you know, hello, how are you? All of that, and nobody will want to talk to you until they go, either I want a job or I've got someone I need. And that's reality. So you have to be resilient in terms of that you can recruit somebody, but you're not the employer. I think you said about advice and taking, but you have to be able to get right into a business, but then step back. But the joy of watching people grow and develop, and the successes and having that connection is such a massive reward. I get a lot of strength from just knowing that. I had a lady who put up that it was her 8th anniversary at an engineering company recently. Yeah, and she's still there. And it's been 8 years, and I was just like delighted. That's a good placement, you know.
That is.
But I am excited about what's over the horizon. You know, obviously it's hard, it's going to be harsh, but I'm always things are really, really, you know, they're going to be fine. I'm doing what I love.
Change presents a lot of opportunities. You've just got to sometimes maybe change your focus, change your mindset, just see things a little bit differently. That's why talking to people is always good, because you'll be able to present your ideas and they'll go, oh, I don't see it like that, I see it like this. And if you're flexible mentally, it can make a big difference. Paul, what about yourself? What do you see as the biggest opportunities at the moment in your industry or sector?
I'm just going to start with touching on something that Sarah said. The fact now that we work in this remote fashion, and the ability to basically work with anybody, anywhere, anytime, which everyone thought we couldn't do 8 months ago, and we've just blown that out of the water. It's now become a norm, where once it was before, it was some companies would do it, but actually, you know, you've got so much market potential now that you know, people just wouldn't engage in, and now it's not, yeah, like I said, a norm. It's just something that I've done for many years, but it's good to see that the rest of the world is catching up with that, that idea. So that's cool. And then specifically, I guess, in my niche, in my market, something that you know, part of what Code Digital does is work with platforms that basically make delivering software, making software a downside easier and a lot quicker than it ever used to be. It's called the no code movement. No code as in no coding happening, but it has, you know, very wide kind of spectrum to literally, you know, everyone on this call could make a mobile app, to something a little bit more kind of you know, immersive and complex, which is where I kind of work in, and still need some kind of software background. And it just basically democratizes the ability for people to get solutions built, you know, at a much lower cost than would have necessarily been the case 5 years ago. You know, the average cost of an app can cost anything from £60,000, and that's really just with a one-person team. You know, the average kind of product costs like £250,000 to £1 million to deliver. But now you can get pretty much the same thing done with, you know, within 3 months and a fraction of that price, and it's still the same product, and it still achieves the same goal, and it still achieves the same level of complexity. And I think that's really exciting, because you know, you can, you know, allow a lot more businesses to kind of innovate a lot more quickly, and leave the really complex stuff and the really challenging stuff to developers who can't get excited by that stuff. But otherwise, you know, there's lots of ways you can be innovative a lot more quickly these days.
It's a lot more accessible for smaller businesses, for example. The accessibility is not, you know, the reach is a lot easier for small business.
Yeah.
Well, accessibility has always been something that the tech industry has strived to improve. And we were talking about computers back maybe when we were younger chaps, and they were just bits of plastic that didn't do anything until you interacted with them and programmed them and told them what to do. And now everyone's got a computer in their pocket, and it's connected to pretty much every other computer like it in the world, possibly. And they're so easy to use. So, you know, that simplification of technology, and as Paul said, that democratization of who uses it, it's really important that there are people like Paul in the world that can champion that to people and say, look, you know, this is not as difficult as you perhaps thought it was, even just a year later or 18 months later. So it's really, really interesting and encouraging that Paul's a cheerleader like that for businesses to be able to say, hey, look, you know, you can have what you want and a fraction of the price you thought that you were going to have to pay. So it's great. It's great to see that. Lou, do you have any more questions, any follow-ups, any final comments?
Well, I think what we should, it's 10:30, so I think we should open the show to everybody. Let's get everybody, Gareth can promote everybody. Let's get everybody in the room and see if we've got any questions from the people attending. And yeah, take it from there. I love it that Gareth just does that and he's not even there looking at me. I love it.
Welcome, people. Lovely to see you. If you thought that you had maybe 10 more minutes to do your hair and put on some lippy,
oh no,
don't have to switch the video on. You can go and do that and then come back and join us. I know.
Oh, I thought John was going to put his lippy on then.
John's going to do his hair and makeup and be back in a minute.
Brilliant. Okay, so I think we'll open it up to the floor. If anybody's got any questions, you know, raise your hand or, you know, indicate if you've got anything to ask any of our members that have been in Spotlight today. Anybody got anything to kick us off with? I had a couple more questions. I can start because I had a couple more questions on my sheet, and I just kind of, I just want to ask you your ultimate goal for your business, because it's always, for me, it's always an interesting question because it just sort of shows the direction in which you're going and how far away you are from it and what your time scale is. So can we start with you, Paul? What is your ultimate goal for your business?
Ultimately, at the moment, I think it's to I currently I do a lot of freelancing for clients, which is where I am right now. And what I want to be able to do is to be able to work with my own direct clients, mostly local where possible, and build a business around those clients individually. So I've got many more big clients that I'm working with at any one time, and having a sustainable relationship with those clients that keep coming back to me. And then that's building a more robust, sustainable business to get through some of these challenges we're going to have over the next few years.
Yeah.
But then also to to employ a few local people and help them kind of understand how the things I described earlier can be built for customers and deliver my vision on how we can deliver those things for customers, software for customers, and make it more accessible.
Brilliant. Yeah. Have you joined the Kickstarter? Just on talking about employing people, are you on the Kickstarter program with Sarah? Are you involved in that?
I'm not. I don't think I'm there yet.
You're not there yet. Okay. Well, it's something to think about, isn't it?
I'm running for a year, Paul. We're looking at it. It's definitely going to go into 2021. So, yeah.
I was going to say, Sarah, you were talking to me about it because I was interested in employing someone maybe to do some work with me. And you were saying that even if you have an expression of interest, you don't actually have to recruit that person for a length of time. And I can't remember what the length of time was. Well,
the thing is, it is around the planning. So you do need to be able to pay somebody for the time period of 12 weeks their pay, and then you claim that back. But the whole idea around registering is that you register your company and the role that you would like. Once that's confirmed, you then have time to decide when you'd like to take someone on. So don't let that be a barrier. If you're thinking, I mean, it comes from, I really need help with this, and it's probably constant. It's like I always say, if you're thinking about staffing all the time, in the night, in the morning, phone me up. But it is, if it's playing on your mind that you could need help, then get your business and your role registered, because then you can take the time to find the right person. There isn't an onus that you need to take the first person or take someone next week. There is.
How long before you would need or that eligibility drops off? How long is there? Is it?
We are still waiting on some guidance on how the scheme is actually going to run. At the moment, they've launched it, and the people are showing that they have an interest because they do have roles that they want to be filled. They need to be new roles. So that's happening now, and as the question and answers are coming in, but we're absolutely confident that it's definitely going to be 6 months into 2021. I think we've had confirmation that this scheme will run for the whole of 2021. It's about giving people opportunities to come away from universal credit, and so there's plenty of time to be part of the scheme. But you need to find the right people, so get moving now. I hope that helps, Paul.
I wasn't aware of that. I thought it was more timely than that, so yeah, that could be.
No, it's an ongoing scheme now. So
it's always worth having conversations, when we broadcast these things, if you're not quite sure with all the things that we talk about, because there's a lot going on at Signal. There's a lot of things. We've got lots of fingers in lots of pies. So literally, if there's anything that sparks your interest, just give us a call and somebody will talk you through it, because often it's those barriers. You think, oh, that's not for me, that won't work for me, but just communicate and get out there, and it just may well do. So
you're like genies as well. I might ask a question of something, if you don't have that answer to hand, especially Stu, you'll have the, I was like, oh, and I'll find out, and then somewhere a couple of days something will pop in and you got your answer. And that's the whole thing about talking to each other.
It's the beauty of having a community, right? I mean, that's what it is. It's the beauty of having everybody in this community that you can just pitch these answers, and communication is the only way to get an answer. So always ask.
Just on that point, I'm going to ask the room a question. Who at the moment has a problem that they've been stuck with for more than 3 months? Or has been a constant problem nagging at them that they think, oh, I'd like to solve that? Come on, I can't believe that we've got a room full of business owners with no problems. Yeah.
Well, I'll start. Mine is just the technology thing, and I know for an absolute fact that my computer actually isn't up to what I need to do. For example, with the Zoom calls and having these backdrops, Forever has given us access to a most incredible array where you can actually be in Rexmoor's office. You can change the pictures on the wall behind you. You can put your own photos in there and that kind of thing, which I think is great fun. Can't do it on this computer. It's just not got the capability, and that's the kind of frustration I've got at the moment, because not only is that a frustration for me, but I have a frustration around using it all, and I don't come across as I want to be perceived.
Okay, so to answer that, we've got Blue Can Do in our network. They're a great IT provider. They provided me with a laptop this week. Obviously it wasn't free, but it came fully configured. I just literally sat down at it and started working. I didn't have to install anything. Well, there was a couple of minor bits of software that I choose to use, but we've been having a constant problem in the team that I've got a Mac laptop and a Windows 7 desktop, and constantly it's not quite compatible with Office 365, which is what we use. So we solved that problem. You know, we just, okay, we had to throw some money at the problem, but we just went to our network. Can you help us? Yeah, done. Not, oh God, I've got to go and buy that from Amazon. And it was really reasonable. You know, they set it all up, and I literally was handed a box. Here's your computer, opened it up, started work day one. So there is that. I know there's the finance thing, but you've got the grant thing. There may be other areas that where you could be eligible for, but again, you know, ask the network. I saw Angie raised her hand. What's your problem, Angie?
Well, mine is
hang on, that could have been perceived complete. What's your problem, Angie? What's your problem?
Is it just the one problem you want, Stu?
Raise your hand.
Mine is actually consistency in marketing, which is another reason why I have applied for a Kickstart position, because I think that I could also train them on various things, as well as you know, I'm training people at the moment on Canva, so I should, you know, I should be able to do my own thing, but it's just difficult for me to get out what I want to, you know, to my network.
Yeah. So
I struggle with it. I'm good at helping others and telling them what they should put out. But I'm really rubbish at telling myself I'm just bloody doing it.
Yeah, delegation is always a challenge for people. And I would say, having, you know, built teams and worked with teams and hired people and, you know, worked with lots of different teams and mentored and so on, that you do have to practice. You have to practice, and you do have to, you know, establish a way to delegate and work with staff. It's a skill in itself.
So I used to have a team, so I know how to delegate. So
doing it for yourself though immediately when it's all on you though, isn't it, Angie? It's that transfer of doing it for yourself. So yeah, it's really it's brilliant to do it now.
Conversation with Sarah and say, this is my fear, you know, oh, I want to recruit somebody, but I'm just stuck in this. How do I do that? What does that look like? What will their expectations be? And just kind of focus down on what is achievable and what is reasonable. And then you've got a plan, and there's the government actively saying, we will give you money to employ someone. I mean, the opportunity with that is amazing. I was almost tempted to take 30 people and just say, I'll have 30 and we'll go and tidy up Borden. We'll start a business and we'll call it the cleanup crew, and we'll just blitz Borden. Imagine Borden with 30 people cleaning it up on a daily basis, what it would look like. Okay, there's all sorts of training and rights and insurances and helping with with getting rid of the rubbish, but it's that kind of thinking that we as business owners, we can afford to do. And especially if we've got a network like this and we can talk to those, you know, have a word with Keith. What do we need? What are the permits we need to put that in place? Right, Sarah, how do we get somebody to train those people in correct, you know, there's a lot of pieces that we can go out and speak to our network. So don't be afraid of you know, saying to us, oh, what's Sarah's number? Because I'm sure she would be absolutely thrilled to impart her considerable knowledge in this area.
There's multiple ways you can get in contact with everyone at Signal, and except for turning up on the doorstep, unfortunately, at the moment, but that will change soon.
It will.
But you have to, if you're growing your business in any way, either from experience, either you have to have very good abilities to be able to outsource your work to other people, and there's lots of people that's come very much to the fore now, and it's a fantastic way for businesses to get done what they need to do. No, I know businesses who run their whole team, and in fact we do, on outsourced working relationships, whether it be accountancy, IT and so on. So there are different ways that you have to, but you won't grow your business without a team. If you want to scale your business, it is the truth. It is the absolute you know, little jump you have to make will be, you can't do it alone. You have to grow your team, however you do it. So
not everybody wants to be Richard Branson, but even just to remove the pressure off yourself and give yourself a few more hours in the week to think about all of the other jobs that you've got to do, having somebody working alongside you can really help you sell more. You know, those are the pieces of the puzzle. Take the pressure off you with those tasks that you can delegate, and then the bits that you want to grow your business and do, you've then got time to do.
I also think that an element of when you have somebody working with you as well, it motivates you, because it makes you think, I've got to give them some tasks. I've got to get through that to get them to do that. So it motivates you to kind of create tasks, monitor tasks, like develop things, move things along, because you have to give them something to do. So I've always found that when I've had sort of apprentices or juniors that are working alongside me, and I'm helping them, and I've got to give them fuel, I've got to give them stuff to do, it makes me more motivated, because I'm like, right, I've got to get that to that bit to give them to do that. And then they come back and they go, I'm done. Have you got anything else? And you think, oh gosh, yeah, I do. And it makes you keep pushing yourself. So it's a real motivator, I find.
Keith, have you got your hand up there?
Yeah, I'm just to say to you that I've been doing a joint project with somebody this week, and for the first time we both happen to have one of the Echo Show devices, you know, where you can, it's actually got a screen, and so we've had that on most of the working day, just so that we're both there, and then if each of us has one of us has a question or something, and just instantly asked it to the other person. As the first time I tried it, but it was, you know, effectively it's free because you're paying for the broadband anyway, so there's no cost to that connection. And it's just great to be able, it's almost like sitting in the office with them, but actually, you know, you're not. I mean, this guy's in Southampton, so we're 30 miles apart.
That's good social distancing right there. 30 miles is about right. I think that's the government guidelines now. You've got to be 30 miles apart in a hazmat suit. So yeah. But
going back to your productivity thing, yeah, I've been much more productive this week, just having that, because you feel like you're because, you know, I'm sure we all do it working on our own, that sometimes you feel incredibly lonely because you know that there is no one, but just having somebody there that, you know, you can either say, oh, you know, what do you mean by this? What do you think they mean by this? It's just like watching off it, and I'm hooked now. I really think it's sort of, you know, a real step forward.
It's almost like a form of accountability, almost, isn't it? Without being accountable, you know, it's that feeling, isn't it, that I better crack on, because, you know,
well, it's like yesterday. I mean, it's ironic, isn't it, when you think about it? I mean, you know, yes, we both run our own businesses. Time, you know, our time is our own, if you like. But my brother rang me during the time that I was on the thing, and I sort of like, I can't talk for long because
I'm at work. Don't call me. I never get calls during the day, like never normally. Don't call me.
But I love it. I love what you're saying there, Keith. I've written it down because that is so true. If you are budding up with someone, or there's someone that you talk to a lot and you work with a lot, that's a fantastic idea to sort of have the Zoom open all the time. Yeah, just carry on with your day and then just dip in.
Yeah, well, so because it's on a separate device, you know, it just sits on a little device on the shelf. It's not doing anything. You can mute it easily, you know, when if you or you know, say if you've got a call you don't want the other person to hear, but it's just great. Yeah.
In the room, not in the room. Absolutely brilliant.
A little aside, obviously, you said the show device, which is an Amazon Alexa enabled device.
Yeah.
Did you purchase that this week?
No, I've had it for a while.
Okay, but who has heard of Amazon Prime Day?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So every year Amazon have a Prime Day, and they do all these massive deals, and they encourage people who sell on their platform to do these deals, and you get massive discounts. You get time discounts, you know, through the day. For an hour, this is available, you know, 6 pairs of socks for £1 or whatever. And it's all around the idea of Prime and taking a subscription for Prime and getting free shipping and all of the other benefits. It's now extended to 2 days. So it's called Prime Day, but it was the 13th and the 14th of October. Do you know what? I've been stupidly excited for a couple of months because I wanted to buy my dad a show device so that we can have it just on and just feels like he can, oh, you know, dip into a conversation. So it's interesting to hear you say that. But what a great thing to do for your business is say, right, today, this day, every day, this same time every year, I'm going to make it about this in my business, and I'm just going to talk to everyone about it, and I'm going to make a big song and dance about it, because that's all they did. It's only shopping. It's a shopping day with a bit of a discount, but they've made it Prime Day, which makes it a whole event. So it's interesting to hear you talk about using that device in that manner.
I think as well, Stu. I mean, yeah, we can all learn from big companies like Amazon in a way, because Prime Day is only open to Prime members. You create fear of missing out. You create FOMO because people are like, oh, if I'm not in the Prime membership, I'm not going to know about these things.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah.
Can you tell me why they picked that day?
Well, it changes each year,
Yeah.
Sheila, and this year it was pushed off. It's usually July. I think it's either at the end of June or in mid-July. It's around that. It's a sort of summer promotion before we go into August and holiday season. But of course, they pushed it off because of the current situation. So I've been twiddling my thumbs thinking I wanted to buy my dad this thing, and they usually have massive discounts, and they did. You know, it was half price. I think it was 40% odd off. Amazing, and that's why I was hanging on, because you can get these devices, especially the Amazon devices and the Amazon offers. They do massive, steep discounts for a very short period of time, and that can really get some focus and some attention on the business. I just find it incredible that a business that was started in a garage by a man with a door as a desk has become this massive global thing. Whatever your thoughts are.
That's not unusual, Stu. That is not unusual. Absolutely.
If anybody wants an Amazon Alexa, is that what they're called, the old things?
Yeah.
I've got one. I want it, and I thought it would be ideal for David, but it's not. It's not. So it's completely unused. If anybody would like it, make me an offer I can't possibly refuse, and it's yours.
Bidding war. I think Signal teach a lot, actually, especially with the going online again over this summer. Just what Angie was saying is about giving, if you've got staffing or support or help, giving it the time. It's fun talking to. It's the great part of your work going forward and so on, you know, but do have structured meets, talks, you know, lists going on. And also when you're going through, if you're going to hand off work, you know, do time how long it kind of takes you, productivity, to get these tasks done. Be realistic. But one of the things is, especially when you have someone come on and say, oh, have you got anything else? I'll finish that. Or have you got anything else? I'll finish that. You know, you need to, people can cope with quite a lot of stuff usually, but once they've got one thing right, you can build it up. So timing and, you know, just building up those tasks and duties and involvement, and it will run. It will have if you've got a bit of a structure, it will run. Well, and it'll get exciting. It's exciting.
In a couple of weeks' time, you'll find out how to get the most out of your time if you come and sign up to my talk about time management and productivity. Big fan of the timesheet and, you know, monitoring what you're doing every 15 minutes and making a little note of it. It can really make a difference when you look back at your diary and go, my God, I spent so long doing that. I've constantly underestimated over the years, and my wife knows it's one of my biggest failings. I only have one or two. Born awesome, been that way ever since. But one of my failings is totally underestimating how long a task will do. She'll say to me, "Can you do that?" "Yeah, 10 minutes." You know, 2 hours later, and a cut on my hand, and I'm swearing. But we all do it. You know, the perspective of, "Oh, I think that'll be really easy," until you have to delegate it or teach somebody how to do it. You don't sometimes understand. Oh God, I didn't realize I just do that automatically. But of course, I need to instruct somebody that that's the way that that needs to happen. Fantastic.
Yeah.
I saw a message pop up. Angie says she uses Toggle as a timer. Angie, what is Toggle?
Okay, Toggle, you can, it's a software, free software, and what you do is when you start a job, where you put in your customers, you put in the project, and when you start the job, you can start it with a timer. So you click it when you start, and then you do your work, and then when you've finished working for that client, you just click stop. If you haven't done the timer, you can also put it in manually. So if you know you started at, say, 10:15, and then you can put it in and then put the end time in as well. And then at the end, you can run reports. You can either run detailed reports or just short reports. And then at the end of the month, I will run the full report for all of my clients. Then I know how many hours I've worked on their projects if I'm charging them by the hour.
Wow, that's really good.
And I also send out that with the invoice, I send out their bit of the Toggle, so they know exactly what I've worked on.
Wow, that's
put
really
a link
good.
to it in the website, and that's now going to be a research point for me to talk about. And I'm going to big up Angie for giving me that top tip. Top tip. Excellent. I sit there looking at the clock and have a spreadsheet, and then I just write in the spreadsheet.
Okay. Well, this is much simpler. I can do you a quick Loom video if you like.
Let's talk after.
Is it paid for? Is it paid for? Do you have to pay, or is it a free?
No, it's free. It's free of charge. Free is my magic number. I love it.
Oh,
that's really good.
Yes.
Really good, especially if you've got multiple clients. That's really good.
Yeah, it works well.
Fantastic. Excellent. See, there's all these tools out there. And again, you know, you'd think someone like myself would doing productivity, doing time management, involved with the internet, I would know something like that. I might have heard about it, but Angie actually using it and telling me about it means that I'll now dive into that. That'll be where my head will be this afternoon. And I will be a fully involved and be able to take screenshots and show everyone how to use it. That'll be it. That'll be my life this afternoon. Thank you, Angie. Excellent. No, what do you do to track time? Because you are a person who sells their time as a graphic designer. And how do you manage your time?
Pen and paper and a clock.
Pen and paper and a clock?
Yeah, so this sounds really good. Yeah, I'm very old school.
Yeah, excellent. Fabulous. Yeah, no, I mean, but old school works sometimes. I've got a pen and a pad by my desk whenever I'm working, because you never know when something crops into your head and you just need to make a quick note. And clicking out the screen and go into a notepad and doing all of that, just putting it on a notepad. Did you just show me a notepad there? Look, everybody, who's got a notepad? Everyone's got a notepad. Look at them. Notepads ahoy. Notepads for the win.
Notepads.
Ah, everybody. Fantastic. Excellent. See what I mean? Wonderful. So do you struggle with time, Louise? Somebody who has a constant list of jobs?
No, I've written Toggle down as well. I use an Excel spreadsheet, and manually have to put it in. But if I can push a stop start, I'll definitely be looking at that.
Excellent.
So yeah, I think any tools that you can get, and again, as I said before, it's all about communication and talking to people, and finding out what other people use. It sort of broadens your mind to everything. So yeah, that's what I love about talking to everybody, because you pick up so many different things, and not everything is for everybody, but it's worth exploring, right? It definitely is worth exploring.
And Sheila, you were going to use the Pomodoro technique, and you had a lemon timer.
A lemon timer.
I'm buying one that is the lemon. Yes.
Amazing. I love that technique. I think Keith uses that one as well, don't you, Keith?
Yeah. No, brilliant. Because I like the idea, and also to go back to the diary, Stu. I've got a 15-minute interval diary so that I do write in the 15-minute intervals, because it's too easy for a phone call to go on for too long.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that really makes you see that you're active. Yes, but the Pomodoro, but it's a lemonade one, isn't it?
Yeah, as Lou said, I'm a big fan of the Pomodoro technique. If you've not tried it, try it, because it's a really good way of organising your day. And it does make sure you take breaks as well, and that's just as important as doing the work sometimes.
Yeah, I took a break yesterday. I was working at Signal, as Sarah knows, and when you're at Signal, Sarah said, in recruitment, you know, anything can happen on a Monday. With Signal, anything can happen at any time. You're sat there, and just I turned up in the car park the other day, and before I'd even got in the building, there was a tree branch that had come down, and I was interacting with Malcolm from Whitehall and Borden Regen Company and liaising with him about when somebody could come and do and it's like, it's non-stop. So I actually took 10 minutes to go for a walk. I'd been staring at the computer and all the rest of it. I took 10 minutes, walked down to the One Stop and bought myself an orange twirl. If you've not tried them, it's just like angels on your tongue. It's like a Terry's chocolate orange in a chocolate bar, but with a twirl. Anyway, but I walked down there and walked back. It was like 10 minutes. I felt so guilty. Like, oh my God, you know, I had my phone and I knew that, you know, people weren't going to be getting in touch with me. And this is on top of the fact I'd only taken a 15-minute lunch break. But yeah, you need to take those breaks. It's important. It really is important.
It is.
Swagger, Stu, as well. You don't try and sneak off down. You swagger down there, I think. I think business owners need to learn a bit. They do need to swagger wherever they go. You know, I think it's a real good feeling.
I work for a barristers' chambers as well as part of my consultancy, and I was on a call with them yesterday, about 8 of them. We were on a Zoom call going through some stuff, and they're all there and they're all hunched over and they're all doing this. And I was like, what's wrong with everybody? And they went, literally, the way that barristers have now changed, they're doing everything on Zoom calls, because a lot of the courts aren't open. Some courts now are, but they're all in front of the Zoom. And they were all saying to me, you know, as barristers, they're so used to standing up and the judge, you know, sit down, stand up, talking, moving. They move all day long, pretty much. And they said just on these Zoom calls, they're all really suffering from just being stuck in front of screens. And I think we all are. We're all like, you know, not used to this, just sitting in front of screens. So taking breaks, really, really important. So yeah, we should all definitely be doing it.
Yeah,
really interested to hear more about that, because we're going to be working with businesses about how they help their staff working remotely on an ongoing basis.
Yeah.
And that's going to be so important for businesses to help manage that. And we will be focusing on everything remote: recruitment, quality, onboarding, and managing people working remotely. You know, away from a regular office space.
Yeah.
So I'll be interested to hear anybody, any advice, but any knowledge, you know. And
well,
so
my husband's a health and safety consultant, so
I know.
at my desk gets me sorted. I've got to be sitting and all that. But a lot of people are like, you know, on their dining tables, you know, doing this, and it's really bad. And we've been doing it a long period of time now. So it's really important that you've got to have the right setup, the right, you know, I've got books and everything underneath to make sure that it's the right height and everything, because it's really important. So yeah, I think there's a lot to learn from all of that as the time goes by.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Taking regular breaks is a big one. You know, taking a break from the screen, getting up, moving the blood around. I know I've had a really bad day when I go up to the house and I sit down on the sofa, put my feet up on the poof, and my wife will go, your ankles are swollen, you haven't moved around to, you know, enough today, or drunk enough water. And she's absolutely right. I've literally been sat in a chair for best part of 9 hours, and that's not good for anyone.
No,
just not.
There was somebody who spoke about Djokovic, the tennis player, who I always have had an interest in, because I had cataracts and I've had replacement lenses in my eyes, and it always fascinated me that someone like with such bad eyesight as he had is top of the tennis game. And they said, you know, what's your impression of Djokovic? What's one of the main things you think of him as a person, to someone who knew him really well? And they said like this: he doesn't stop stretching. He doesn't, any time you see him, whether you're having a serious conversation or a light, he'd be stretching every second of the day. That's what he did. They said it's so disconcerting. It's like he's not paying you attention because he's all of that. But it is, you know, when we're looking after our well-being, when we're doing these things, this is, you know, that when you say walking away, you know, but don't be afraid to really give some stretching and think about it. It's so important.
Definitely is.
Go for a walk.
Yeah, go for a walk. Stand up, move about, drink water.
I see, yeah, Angie, you put on a stand-up, sit-down desk. I've just bought one of those, and they're really good. It's a tabletop one that goes on your existing desk.
Oh.
So you literally just pull the handle up, and then you can stand. And yeah, I love it. I really, really enjoy it. It just gives that, you know, during the day. So you stand.
We've got, it's so lovely to stand up and work, and then go and sit down and have a rest.
And to be honest, you feel quite powerful when you're standing up and working on your computer. It gives you that increased energy. It really does. I don't know whether anybody else finds that.
It also gives you the opportunity to have a dance if you want as well. While you're working.
Always good. It's always good. When I did the presentation for the on the productivity, I did it standing up. I just felt like I could give more energy standing up.
More empowered.
Yeah, love it.
And definitely you need to be looking as if you really are looking at everybody, rather than, you know, shuffling around and not.
Exactly.
There's a band called Rammstein. It might not be everybody's taste in music, but it's quite energetic metal. And the keyboard player, when he's playing live, he's on a treadmill.
Oh.
He literally is on a treadmill jogging and playing in a rock concert. Just, when you see it, it's a bit like, is he on a, he can't be on a treadmill. How does he, and your brain tunes out of what the band are doing, and like, how the hell does he keep that up for 2 hours? Just, and he's like a rake, so you know it must work.
Must work, indeed.
Yeah. I couldn't remember. It's we use a system as Angie does. It's called Clockify. Is another alternative system. And it works really well for projects if you've got sort of formal projects and so on.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So that's another one.
I think I know what my research is this afternoon. Is on time trackers. I do know that if you get somebody to if you hire a freelancer through Upwork, when they are tracking time on your project, it takes a screenshot every 15 minutes and logs it in a timeline, and you can literally go through their work diary and see what they've been working on, so that, you know, checking to make sure that they're actually doing what you say they're doing and not watching a Netflix movie.
Yeah.
That brings Keith in again, because all of this with remote working and product and things like that is really quite quite a new topic for hirers, employers. Sorry, my words escape me. For employers, don't you think, Keith, how people attract in terms of what they're doing when?
Yeah, it is very important. And I mean, an example which I actually did a little bit about this on my podcast last week. But an example that people don't think about is if your employees are having to deal with paper documents, or they're printing things out, how are you making sure they're destroying those, or how are they storing them? And one company that I'm now working with actually has a courier who goes around all their remote employees' offices each week, picking up the paperwork that they've had that they shouldn't be keeping at home, and bringing it back to a central location. Now, okay, that has a cost, but from a security point of view, it gets a big tick in the box. And they're actually an HR company, funny enough, Sarah. So you know it's because it's personal information about people who are applying for jobs and things. It's like, you know, they want to make sure they know where that is.
That could be another service for your 30 strong clean up Borden campaign, Stuart.
Absolutely.
Go around and destroying sensitive documents.
Collecting all sensitive.
Well, on an absolutely a serious note, one of the reasons the laptop that I purchased was purchased is for GDPR compliance. If that laptop only does and only has on it data from Signal, then I know that if the worst comes to worst, although I own the laptop, the data is owned by Signal, and if they ask me to destroy it, all I've got to do is format that hard drive. It's gone, you know. So it's not on a desktop outside of their reach. The boys at Blue Can Do, or girls as well at Blue Can Do, can log in and check on it and make sure that it's secure, that the software is up to date, that there's no nasties lurking to leech that data away. So I think, as Keith's pointed out, this move to online working, there's going to have far-reaching consequences because we've rushed into it. Everybody's just done what they needed to do to get the job done, and to a certain extent the laws have been relaxed. People are looking the other way and going, okay, you know, outside of a black swan event, outside of our remit, the planning laws have been kind of, you know, okay, if you need to sell takeaway stuff, we're not going to come down hard on you. And I get that, you know, the practicality that we've had to go through. Well, but if we're going to formalise it going forward, we're going to have to pay attention to those laws. They can't be left lax forever.
Well, with my EHCC hat on, Stu, I mean, one of the massive costs that we've had as an organisation for dealing with COVID is because now out of our 250 staff, something like 230 work from home.
Yeah. And
we've probably had to purchase 200 laptops. Yeah, you know, it's been a massive exercise, but from a GDPR perspective, just as you said, it's very important we know who's got those laptops and what is on them.
Yeah.
And you know, we very firm with people saying, you know, it is for work. You shouldn't be downloading the latest Nintendo onto that laptop for your kids to play. That's not what it's there for. But it has a cost. You know, but you compare it against the cost of failing, and
I'm going to say
and the fine
is really expensive.
The fine.
But that's what I like about the Kickstarter scheme, in that they've thought about it. And when you take somebody on and you put them on your payroll, there is a small grant to cover the costs of technical uniform. And I really like that part of it. But they are very clear also, you know, to add some training, because the time that you spend or bringing in or getting someone trained, you know, it all has a cost. But I really like that about the scheme. You're not meant to be out of pocket. It's meant to be beneficial on both sides, you know, positive. I was going to say, from all of this clock finds, I was going to ask a question, if that's all right, if I'm allowed to. I know, but I'm interested to hear. Michael might be able to answer this for a kickoff. When you're giving a service, a lot of it is trust, Michael, isn't it? That you're doing the job, especially with accounts and things. That, but obviously there's an outcome, and you produce whatever you're meant to produce. But how do you factor in having to sit on, I think you spoke about it before, having to sit on the phone to HMRC for 2 hours to try and get the answer that you want for your client? I think Angie as well. How do you schedule in, you know, how do you factor in the fact that you're doing a lot of work behind the scenes on behalf of the client that's using your time and your resources?
For me, I don't charge for that, because we're all fixed fees. We just take that as a cost, to be honest.
So you factor it in, do you, into your fee?
Because most of the time everything will go relatively smoothly. It's occasionally you'll spend days and weeks trying to get something done. But I don't charge by the hour for things like that, because it's all part of adding value. You know, because what I say to the clients is, we will take over your accounts, we will deal with HMRC on your behalf, you know, as long as we've got the authorizations, and that's what they're paying us for, and that's why we charge what we do. We don't charge £10 an hour for our bookkeeping, because we do so much more.
Yes,
for that. Yeah,
absolutely.
actually HMRC haven't been too bad to get hold of. I've been dealing with them on a few matters this last couple of weeks, and they've actually been a lot easier than getting hold of someone at Barclays. 2.5 hours I gave up. I'm not sitting on hold for the rest of my life. But interestingly, on this kind of defining the work hours and that the healthy mindset and healthy approach to working, just as an aside, France actually enacted a law that makes it illegal, actually finable, for companies to get in touch with their staff outside of their contracted hours, to the point where they are not allowed to send them emails. So there's now, you know, their email servers are switching off and disconnecting from those smartphones and those tablets and devices. So when they come in on a Monday, they're there ready for them to work. And I think that's really important. And as small business owners, we have to, you know, do really think about, I know there's a cost of this, but do really think about, if I have a personal device, does it have work on it? And am I sneaking the odd look at emails? And am I sneaking the odd 5 minutes working on a client thing? And we tend to ignore that, but it builds up quickly. It really does. And it can take over. So, you know, be careful of that, definitely.
Good, right, let's I'm having a look at the time. It's 11:15, so I think the time has flown. Are we going to end the session? I think we should end the session now. Has anybody got any other questions or anything they want to just raise? Anybody got any questions for the members of the Spotlight today?
I thought did I see your hand sneak up at, just a little while ago, Michael?
Oh, it was about, you know, these timers for logging your hours, whatever.
Like Toggle and Clickify and that?
Yeah, if you use QuickBooks, they own something called T-Sheets now. And I think that is free. And the beauty of that, it sounds like it's very similar to Toggle, but the beauty of that is it will import all your timings directly onto the invoice. Because you just mark it as billable hours. So that's, you know, again, one less step for you to manage if you use QuickBooks, and Xero has similar integrations as well.
Fantastic.
So,
excellent. Well, that's completely your afternoon sorted, Stu.
Yeah. I will be deep diving into Pomodoro, what was it? Not TikTok. TikTok is a completely different subject.
Completely different subject.
Toggle. I said Toggle. What am I talking about? Well, thank you to our guests for sharing just such a great load of information about you, your businesses, where you've come from, where you're going. It's really, I really love these sessions because I feel like I'm really finding out more about the small businesses, but about the people behind them. Yeah, absolutely. Lou,
real people.
Yeah, real people.
We're not an illusion.
Lou, any last comments?
Yeah, just to say thank you for everybody coming. Thank you, Sue. Don't worry you didn't get your video. It was lovely to see you here again because I haven't seen you for a few weeks. So yeah, lovely to see you. Thank you all for coming today. Thank you again to the members of the Spotlight. It's not as bad as what you think, is it? Anybody else that wants to be a member of the Spotlight next month, let me know. And hopefully we'll see you all at LinkedIn on Tuesday.
Yeah, see you Tuesday, everyone.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you.
Brilliant.
All the best. Have a good weekend.
Have a good weekend, everybody.
Friday.
Yeah.
All right. Take care.
Bye.
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 Bye, everyone.
Bye. Bye.